He's been sitting a while, so I started right up to pull it in, and the battery was lagging, so I just chucked the charger on up there.
Did you pick it up at West?
I found it in Fort McMurray, on Kijiji actually.
Oh, wow.
And the story behind it is the guy that I bought it off of, his name is Spencer, he was moving his family from Newfoundland to Fort McMurray because he works in the diamond mines, I think.
Okay.
And he was driving through Manitoba and he found it on the farm. Bought it off the family of the original owner. It was in the original owner's barn since 1978.
Wow.
Never, the tag on the plates 76 was the last time it was on the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you driven it on the road yet?
I've driven it twice.
Twice.
Another buddy of his was out there before Christmas because I got a price of $3,500 plus tax from a shipping company to bring it home.
Okay.
And he said, I might be able to save you some money. He said, my buddy's coming out. He's got a Suburban with a Cummins diesel in it,
Yeah.
mid-80s. So he had a trailer. He said, I can't tell you he's coming home next week or next month, but he can bring it home for you for $1,500. I said, well, I don't care when it gets out here. I won't be driving it in the spring. So he dropped it off the theater in Truro, and I drove it home from Truro. And I drove it the middle to get the mechanical fitness done on it and back. But we've just been so busy that I haven't had time to drive it. No.
What is this? Is this an original metal floor?
It is.
It goes over top of the wood?
The wood's still underneath the original wood. You can see it. With the guy I bought it off of, I asked him about it. I said, does it have the original wood bed in it? And he said, no. He said, it looks to me like it was an older bed liner somebody welded in. But it's not. They're all factory spot welded and it's factory stamped. And I've done some research on it. And this is how they came. And the wood underneath has the space between them.
Right.
And all it's there for is support for the steel. The wood's still all underneath them.
Right on.
Yeah.
You don't get to see, you don't see this stuff original like this very often.
And you can even see where he must have had paint
Yeah.
from the name of the farm. This is Manitoba, and I think this is his last name. You can see it better on the other side because there's no white paint left on it when I buffed it. You can still see it. The guy bought it off and sealed it with linseed oil, and you can still see some of the linseed oil on it. That was my plan too. I was going to buff it up, and
Linseed oil?
I hate buffing, but once I started and seen how shiny this was coming, I said, man, I got to stop. I got over 40 hours in that because I couldn't use a machine because it's softened bull linseed oil. I had to rub it by hand. My elbow's still sore. Yeah. And then the only spots that I had to patch were where the panels were doubled. You can see here.
Yeah.
And what I did was I cut the old panel out, I fabricated a new one, butt welded in and ground it smooth,
Yeah.
and I rebuilt the panel on the underneath. I had these fenders off, I had the round boards off, and I had the two front pieces off the front fenders.
Yeah.
That's all, like, just where it was doubled, and the reason it's doubled is for support for these,
Yeah.
because these are
Yeah.
bolted on, and I rebuilt two sections, one here and one here on each side, because there's a brace underneath.
Right.
The old farm mud and stuff must have been sitting there, so
Yeah.
I rebuilt the brace and
I
I
know.
rebent that.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yep,
about.
but that's, and the one spot on the cab I had to replace was about like that on that side, right back here.
Yeah.
I had to build the outside one and the inside one, and I think maybe a moose nest was probably down in there from the farm.
He was pissing.
And that's probably what rot, like the floor on this thing, I just took a sandblaster and blasted the loose rust off. There wasn't a pinhole in that floor. That's rust converter paint is what that is.
Okay.
But I redid the seat and headliner.
Yeah, it looks good. It caught my eye.
It's actually the original color headliner. The seat's a little lighter than the original, but it's got a little more comfort than the original seat did too.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool old truck, that's for sure.
Even that, the heater, I did some research, and the heater on the floor there is actually an option too.
Yeah.
All them doors in here,
Yeah.
they were all seized up. I got them all freed up.
So you've had it apart and played with it and worked on it.
I took the cover off of this and cleaned it up. I had the seat out to redo it,
Yeah.
of course. I had to move the gas tank ahead to put all of this in behind, right? Because this came as a whole kit, even the kick plates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, you can see the original bolts are still in there that didn't twist off from the fenders on the inside there, but they're square. They're round holes, and what they were spot welded in.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, just little tiny spot weld. I had to take a hammer and drive it out with a punch.
Yeah.
But I had to square the holes out because the new carriage bolts you buy now are square.
Right, on the.
Yeah. So I just filed them out with a square file a little bit just to make the square holes so that they'd fit in enough. You can just tighten the nuts right up.
Right. It's a pretty cool little truck. I had to come take a look at it. It's kind of something that, you don't get many of them original and,
No.
and running good. Does this run pretty good? I take
Yeah,
it?
it seems to, yeah. Yeah. The fellow I bought it off of, he was driving it around on the back streets of Fort McMurray. I stayed in contact with him, I sent him pictures of my seat, and he said, that's exactly what I wanted to do to it. He said, I'm still kicking myself for selling it. He said, my family's still mad at me over it. Yeah.
She did a little repair on this side.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Like I said, the only spots were like a spot here, spots here, both of these,
Yeah.
right here, and on the front fender, but you can see it here, because I didn't want to do body work. Where it was, if it had been painted, I wouldn't have cared. I would have body filled it and, you know,
Right.
welded it smooth and painted it. But I like the original look. And spots like this, and then I had to rebuild
You
both.
didn't even fill on that, did you?
No, I didn't put fill in any of it.
You did a good job, man.
And I rebuilt this and this section here on both sides.
You're hired.
Now I didn't want any big gaudy signal lights. What they had here was, they look like off an 18-wheeler. You know those half moon shaped, but they were
Yep.
flat? They had them bolted there, the old brass bolts still in them. I think the farmer probably put them there for signal lights. Well, they never worked. And the back had them old plastic trailer lights in the bumper.
Right.
They never came with signal lights, so I didn't want anything big and gaudy, so those are just aftermarket motorcycle lights.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
And those holes were already there. I didn't want to drill any new holes.
Yeah.
And I put the back ones in the top stake holes on the back of the box. So it's got all new shocks on it. I put those on. I put both water pumps on because when I was underneath cleaning it, it was starting to drip in here. I said, geez, I said, one of them hoses must be bad. And I got looking, this water pump was leaking. So $128 American, they send you 2 water pumps with the gaskets. I said, I'm gonna put them in. Because they're the motor mounts too, the front motor mounts.
Yeah.
Then I had to change both belts. That's all I've done to the motor. The guy I bought it off of redid the entire braking system, the fuel system, he cleaned the tank, he put dual exhaust on it, and he changed the fluids, is what he said he did to it.
And the exhaust looks new up there.
Yeah, the whole exhaust is new right from the manifold back.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of where he brought them out. I would have sooner them straight to the back, but. And every bolt on those shocks, I just started them with the wrench and I untwisted them with my fingers. You wouldn't believe it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I want to get back to look underneath the damn thing.
You want me to jack it up for you?
Yeah.
Back to that. And I replaced the taillights on it because they were them old plastic lights. Looked like off a trailer. And the only thing I know of that it needs,
I'm gonna put mine on that if you don't mind.
yeah, sure, is a right-hand tie rod end. That's the only thing that the mechanical fitness showed up. And I ordered one from the States, it was $11, but when it came, it's the wrong thread.
Okay.
It's a right-hand thread and I needed a left-hand thread.
Everything looks good and dry.
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
it? Yeah. Looks good, doesn't it? I see where your braces are, and then you wouldn't expect the braces to go like that, but.
What I think, well, there was nothing left of the brace, really just where the spot welds were.
Yes.
I think it was all the farm mud and manure and stuff stuck up inside the brace, and that's what rotted the run board out.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. But even that wood under there still looks solid.
Yeah.
They had a trouble like there, if you want to take a quick, better look.
I can see it
Yeah.
pretty good, eh? You can just tell by the thickness of the frame and stuff, you know, how good it looks. Yeah. Most people get carried away when they get something like this. I don't say carried away, but
Yeah.
you know, you really want to, once you start fixing anything or repairing anything, you want to go to the body fill stage, and then you do
Yeah.
the body fill stage, and then it's on to the paint.
And I didn't
primer
want,
stage.
and like I said, if it had been painted 2, 3, 4 dozen times,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have cared. I would have fixed it and painted it, because that's what we do. But where it was original and it has never been painted.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I grounded it off smooth. I didn't want any body fill. I didn't want to paint it. All this is, it's a rust converter primer. We ordered it from the States.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Okay.
and it gets right hard, and if there's any surface rust left, it'll convert it, but I just did the bare minimum that because like I said, I didn't want to get into the whole painting. Now Dad said, I wouldn't drive it looking like that, you should paint it. I said, I love this look.
So what are you gonna do after you sell it? You gonna buy something else, or?
No, like I said, I just don't have time.
Yeah.
From when Fiona blew through here last fall, I worked 7 days a week right through into the end of January.
Okay.
Never took a day off, not even through Christmas and New Year's. That's how busy we are here.
Awesome.
Yeah, so,
Good for you.
and it hasn't slowed down.
I like the calendars, are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I got one or two of those, I think.
So I had a Fox Body Mustang. I found it at in BC,
Right?
and it had only been painted once. So I painted it actually the same blues on my F-150 out there, and I sold it a year ago. Fallen Chesencourt bought it.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was a fun car.
You didn't even take me for a drive in it first. Can you believe that?
Huh?
My dad didn't even take me a drive in it first.
Has it got the original wheels on it? There's 16s.
They are the original wheels. 2 of them are,
Yeah.
and 2 of them he sent down with them. 2 rims.
Okay.
The tires, like I said, I just put those on just before. Well, I had to put them on for mechanical fitness, but yeah.
That's a good drive.
And that
Nothing much in here or that,
this here was all like, you see how it's very white around the edges?
Yeah.
The whole thing was just covered. You couldn't even see the blue. That was a lot of buffing. By hand.
It's pretty cool.
If you can't even buy these, you can buy the F1, but you can't buy the F47. I didn't know what it was when I seen it on Kijiji. I said, what is F47? And what it is, it's a Canadian-built F1 racing. And they all came with flathead V8s in them. All the Canadian trucks.
Yeah, it's cool. Hood's got a nice patina.
Lots of patina on that.
I was calling it
It's
pan.
dusty right now because sandblasting and stuff, it just blows over it. I just put it in here, an hour ago when we get home. Yeah.
I was calling it Pantina, but that's hair wash. Hair shampoo.
Yeah, that's right.
It took me a while to learn that word, you know.
Trying to think what else
Just
I
the
put on.
usual spots, eh?
Yeah, like I said, if it hadn't have been for the panels being doubled for the support.
Yep.
I don't
I
think
fixed the set actually
Yeah.
exactly the same.
I was talking to a fella yesterday. He's actually from South Africa. He's an engineer in the oil and gas industry. He called me about it. And he said, did you see that 47 International on Kijiji? I said, I did. And he said, well, it's not on there anymore. I bought it. He's from Moncton.
Yeah.
He's over there working till March. But he's got a guy that wants to come down and look at this. He's a used car dealer. He said, if he thinks it's good, he said, he's going to be bringing it home. And because he said, I want to retire, and he's bought himself a convertible Mercedes. I think it's an SL something. I'm not a big Mercedes guy. But he said it's worth 140 grand.
Well, there you go.
So he only paid 90 for it, he told me. But
You did a good job then.
yeah, and there's another fellow in Shelburne. He's away working right now. And he said, I've been watching your ad. He said,
Yeah, I've been seeing it on there a couple times,
Yeah.
and I had to come take a look.
well, the second guy that came, the first week I had it on, he wants it. And he even gave me a price.
Yeah.
But he said, I got to sell my side-by-side first. He said, I don't have room in my garage for both of them. So I keep in contact with him, and he still hasn't sold it yet. So
That's how it goes.
And
When
he-
somebody's gonna sell something generally or trade something, then they move on to something else.
yes, and like I said, if he had room in his garage, he said, I could buy it now. He said, but I don't have room for both. And he said, I don't want to leave one sitting inside. But the mileage on his side-by-side is it's a beautiful machine. He wanted to trade me. I said, I got a four-wheeler. I don't have time to drive. I said, I'd love to have it, but
What is the mileage on this?
roughly 70,000, I think,
70,000.
miles.
Yeah, there'd be no comers then.
No, 70,373. I changed both the windshield rubber and this rubber, the back window rubber.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've done a fair bit of
Well,
work to it.
they were all cracked,
Yeah.
and I didn't want them leaking too bad.
Over here.
Yeah. The only hole in that is right there. And that is a weird spot for that.
Never noticed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird spot, isn't it?
Man, you can buy every part for these things.
You can?
Oh yeah, you can buy all the body panels, whole back of the cab, the roof, everything. You can build one of these.
Okay. I haven't really got into it. We
Yeah.
fixed I think it's a 3-ton, but it was a pretty good truck. It had
Yeah.
the exact same thing going on with this head going on, where the inner construction is and the outside
That's
construction kind of went.
And I didn't use thin body metal either to patch those.
Yeah.
What I used was it's the stuff that we use for patch panels over because it's thicker.
Yep.
Because I mean it was tougher to bend, but it was more to the thickness of the metal of the original. Because normally you can beat a dent out right here with a rubber mallet.
Yeah.
Not on this thing.
Tack with a hammer.
You can start it up if you want.
No, what you started up? That'd probably be best.
Push button start too.
Yeah. They think that's a big deal nowadays,
I know.
eh? Oh, I understand. I thought it was over. And if you don't want to start, I still understand. Yeah, it's got fuel. She might let a putt out of her because she got some extra gas.
Sounds good on it.
Yeah, it does.
Got the 3-speed in it. And a lot of times it came with 4-speed with that training gear. And a lot of guys that are buying these now take that out and put the 3-speed in it because that training gear is too small. And it's just that's a slow spin transmission.
That won't hurt your smell gas.
I filled her up with Supreme when I had it.
Yeah.
Mechanical fitness done. And said that's more close to what they used to run back in the day. They never got this unleaded, like the low grade. So you can get the hole for the old crank. It had a block heater in it too. The wire used to hang out here. And of course in Manitoba it gets cold. It was so old, you could take it and it would just break in two. The old, it was like a little plug.
Are you negotiable on your price at all? We've got another truck we're gonna look at on the way home.
Yep.
And just had to come see it. It looks really good. It really does.
I couldn't get over the shape it was in when it landed here. Yeah.
It's got two different rears, got a little one on this
Well, I replaced that one because
Okay.
I got the original one, or not the original one. I think the farmer banged one up,
Yeah.
and it had a round one on that side, but it was so old and it was right black you couldn't even see anything out of it. So I ordered that from the same place I get all my other parts.
Will you start it again for me? Will it start right up and start?
Sure. I hope.
If you don't, I understand.
I started right up.
shit. That's cool. I thought the looked like the on the picture looked like the box was black also, like the body blue.
Yeah, it's all blue, and I think these are even supposed to be that black.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get over how that 73-year-old paint shined up.
Yeah.
And there's still, you can still see a little haze from the linseed oil, but especially on the door here.
No, he's done a good job on it. I think he went the right direction on it, that's for sure. If he went the other direction, it could have been a while. Well, I mean, you put way more than it would ever probably be worth.
And the fellow from Shelburne, he said, is there any rotten panels or panels that would need to be replaced? And I said, no. I said, the only spots, like I told you, the only spots I passed where the panels were double, I said, all that work is done. I said, so if you did want to blow it apart and redo it, the hard stuff's done. It's just a matter of fixing a few dents and smoothing up some of the where I welded. He said, well, I said, when I get back in the country, he said, I want to come look at it if you still have it. So, because like I said, he's been messaging me off and on for probably 3 weeks now. And he would have come up 3 weeks ago. He said he had to pick his son up at the airport. It's a 3-hour drive from Shelburne. And he said, my son's on too late of a flight. He got standby, and he said, it'll be after dark when I come. So he said, I won't be there. And my glass guy, he said he could cut a panel for that.
Well, it is what it is.
But it's, myself, I said, no. I said, I like that. I said, it's original. Like, it's never been touched. And I said, that's what I like about it. Every time I look at it, I smile. I said, I wish I had a place. That's the other place. I don't have a place to store it. I lost my storage. She sold her house.
So do you leave it outdoors most times?
Yep. Yep.
Right on. Right on.
Like I said, I just got it home before Christmas, and I wanted to leave it here because when we're slow, I can pull it in at night and weld the patch and take the fender off.
You don't live here?
No, Mom and Dad live over there. I grew up. That's the house I grew up in. Actually. I just live up the road about 2 kilometers.
So you're just doing collision work? You're doing restoration work?
Everything.
Doing anything?
Restoration work, we mostly do that in the wintertime when we're slow
Yeah.
because it just takes up so much time.
Yeah, you got it.
But the past year, we've had collision work like crazy. We got 2 out there in the yard now.
Yeah, I see the bumpers hanging everywhere.
Got one there, the garbage truck backed over.
There you go.
11 grand on that one, they're fixing it. And that's his wife's car, that's her husband's truck. There's $24,000 damage on that. He hit a deer, blew all the airbags in it.
Wow.
2 days apart. Yeah. But yeah, actually, we got a 66 Corvette. We got to paint.
Okay.
It's on like a frame. Like it's not on the frame. It's on like a rolling chassis. It's just up in Cokesboro.
Okay.
He wasn't in any rush, but he's in a rush now because he just found his Holy Grail 67 Camaro or Corvette with a brand like a new like a factory 427 in original numbers matching down in Arizona. So he said I bought that. So he said I got to sell this to pay for that one.
Go. All right. Thanks for showing it to us. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. And
Actually, my father-in-law's been down to your Rockabilly weekend one time.
Okay.
He's got kind of a teal blue 67 Impala. Just the weekend, a year before COVID, actually.
Okay.
Him and his wife were down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I was hoping to get down with the Mustang, but COVID hit and
Everybody
everything
scattered.
shut down.
Exactly. Yeah, we're just gonna take a look at something more.
Yeah, sure.
Truck for sure, but
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate you showing it to me. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it was nice to meet you both.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, you got my numbers.
Right
You
on.
know. Yeah, like I said, I'm flexible on it.
Right on. That's another thing I wanted to know.
Yep.
And if you want to know something, you really got to go look at it.
You do. And I appreciate the fact that you called me because this messaging back and forth.
Mm.
Like if I got somebody I want to buy something, I'll call them, and then you can get all your questions out.
Yeah.
Get a feel for them. I said, and like I said, you called me, and I said, and the fellow yesterday called me. I said, I appreciate that a lot.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because this messaging back.
Not personal.
Yes. Well, it is.
And you're not waiting for responses either.
I'm old school. Like I'd sooner talk to somebody, right?
That's me for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be a cool truck to drive around the neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping that
Basically, that's what they're for.
it is.
Around the neighborhood or around town.
I got a seasonal camper up in Pictou, and I was hoping to take it to a few shows up there, and
Right.
but I called to get insurance on it after I got the mechanical fitness on Haggerty.
Yeah.
And they ran all my info, took all my payment info, and my postal code come up flagged. He said, you got a hold on your postal code. I said, what do you mean? He said, do you have a wildfire in your area? That's when the one in Hammond's Plains was going. I said, there's a wildfire here in Nova Scotia. I said, but it's nowhere near me. He said, unfortunately, your postal code is flagged because of that fire.
Oh wow.
But see, we're in HRM.
Wow.
It goes all the way down to Moser River, an hour and a half from here.
Oh, wow.
So I think
So
what
they're
they
not going to
did,
show anything because they think it burns up.
that's, and it's a lot of houses they weren't given, and the fella I knew up middle, he bought a brand spanking new truck. They wouldn't give him insurance until that fire was out. Because our postal code was flagged because of that wildfire.
Wow.
In case it came and burned it, they would
Yeah.
have to pay it out. Yeah. So I never did bother insuring it because it was a month. I called them back and they said, well, I said, we'll let you know. And they sent me a letter. And I said, by that time, I already made the decision to sell it. And I said, I'm not going to drive it and risk banging it up or
Did it
something.
have something on the roof?
Nope.
Have lights or anything on it?
Nope. Oh, those are probably leaves you see up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was sitting right here. Yeah.
Alrighty. Good talking to you.
Good talking to you.
And
Nice
we
to
might
meet you.
talk to you again. You never know.
For sure. Take
Thank you.
care.
See you guys.
Drive careful.
You like it?
Thanks.
Nice. You did a good job at fixing all the pieces and not taking out the originality like you tried to get me to do.
Yeah.
He did a good job at that. I think he did anyways. He did.
It's a pretty cool sweaty truck.
It's pretty cool, sweaty, exactly what it is. Glenn Cole's Auto Buddy. That's Cole, isn't it?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. So we're about an hour and a half away from home. The truck has been advertised. I've been, watching it and, put it on my, I guess you call it on your favorites list, is it?
Yeah, you're safe.
Saved list, I guess. And, yeah, we wanted to get out and I wanted to go look at the truck. There is another truck that we want to look at, and it's on the way home. We're just sort of waiting for that message thing. Like he said, he appreciated us calling him. And, that's what I generally do if I want to buy something. I'll call the person if I can. But in today's, times, a lot of people want to do the message thing. I have to get Jolene to message them, and if they don't return the message, then you're more or less waiting. A lot of people want to give out their phone number, I guess. But we did message a couple times. We're hoping that we get a return message before we get all the way home, because the truck is on the way home. We like to take a look at it, and that truck is a 74 Dodge, and it looks really, 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 really good. It really does. And Jolene found that one, so that was the one that I wanted to go take a look at. And Jolene, and the 74 Dodge is the one Jolene wanted to go take a look at. But we just have to get a response from the message, and if we get that response, we'll take you there with us. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. That was us taking a look at is that 48, was it? Yeah, I think it's the 48, was it not?
Okay, maybe. Or 47, I don't know.
Yeah, 47, I'm not sure, but you get the year of it. Yeah, if you want to know something about something, the best way to do is go take a look at it. Sometimes it's hard to take someone's word for something, as we found out. So we just kind of wanted to take a look at it, see what it is, and it's a nice old truck. Have a good one, everybody.